And just before entering, I saw this, well, call for submissions, as you say. It was kind of an excuse to make a short film. And when I was in Sinai, I didn't feel like communicating too much. I had a book. It was in English by chance, and a group of Israelis thought I was a foreigner, meaning not an Israeli, just because I was on my own and I was reading a book, not really socializing. And I'm not an actor, so I immediately exposed my real identity, but somehow, and I like the fact that some ideas are, you know, it's just like intuitions. I can't really say exactly why, but this character of Ali came to my mind. And it was really, for me, it was obvious that I cannot, I would say that as a physical thing, I cannot, and not planning and willing to, let's say, write such a script or portray such a character without having someone whose real life story and, let's say, identity conflicts are very much related to this character, because I'm taking part of this identity. I don't know even how to describe it, just situation. I'm a part of that, and I have some kind of ethical, let's say, issue with talking on behalf of, well, the festival is called Other Israel, so the big other or whatever other you want to add to that. So it was obvious to me that I need to find someone, a co-writer, a co-creator, a Palestinian, someone whose real life story is much more related to that character. And that's how I came to meet not Ala, but Naif Hamoud, a great guy that we became really close friends, and we wrote the script together, and then, well, Ala joined in, and that basically it.
Ala, you hear me? Ala, tell me how you got involved with the film and how you connect to your character there. You did a fabulous performance. I want to highlight that the opening scene of the film, which is in a one-shot, I believe, you are shown going through this emotional turmoil as you're being interrogated. And really, you do a beautiful job throughout the film, but that first scene is just unbelievable. Tell us about how you connected to your character.
Well, my connection to the film was pretty easy. It wasn't. I didn't have to do something that what we actually called working on the character. This thing came very, very easily, because I feel like from the moment I read the script, I felt from the first moment that I know what Ali is going through. I went through this kind of thing several times. I used to lie about my identity a lot of times because I actually grew up in a Jewish community, so my Hebrew is pretty fluent. So every time I wanted to hide, I don't want to say hide because it sounds bad, but it's some sort of not get into the political discussion. I used to hide my identity, so I used to give false names to to many people I knew, taxi drivers, people I met at hotels around the world, before I became an actor. So I somehow understood very much from the first moment I read the script that I kind of understood what Ali is going through, why he's doing this kind of thing. And so me being in, but I told Asaf that it really happened to me once. I met a guy when I was with a family in a hotel. I think it was in Holland or Bulgaria, I think. And I met a guy and we started being friends, and he asked me what my name is. I told him not my real name. I lied about everything in my life. And I thought I'm not going to see him again. He's from Israel. Well, funny thing, he we came back to the same hotel, and I realized he's going to be with me in the same floor with my family. So yeah, so I've been through this kind of thing many times. Sometimes it's for fun, but sometimes it's just to hide and not go into the political discussion. Today I think that today I'm in a different place. Today I'm more eager to understand and learn more about my Palestinian roots, and it's something that I'm proud of today, a lot more than I used to be in the past. Because growing in a Jewish community, somehow I felt like if I can get away from it, I would. But today I'm an actor, and I'm so-called an artist, and we want to talk about identities and stuff kind of thing. So I'm playing the game with everybody, but there's always still that little kid sitting in the back saying, if you want to get out of it, you can still get out of it. So so weird. I'm talking to you. I don't know if you hear me, how well you hear me, but
I don't hear you or understand you really. You're speaking our language. Thank you so much. One thing I wanted to ask to both films, really, and I hope you can both films, is both films, one of the things I love about it is that they're not about politics. The politics are there in the background. They play parts. They impact the personal, but it's really about the personal. Ali's character in the film is someone who's dealing with heartbreak. Samira, your character in the film is, of course, also dealing with a relationship. But in the background, there's the intersection of the politics as well that's kind of drive the story along. I'd love to hear from you if you'd like to see the films be more political, or or more personal, and how do you maintain that balance? Who else start this time?
But if I heard you right, we are talking about the politics, and if that the characters do not really talk politics, but it's there in the background. Well, I'm not sure about the word background. It's around. It's everywhere. It's like and yes, we are in activism. We're already knowing and saying that the political is the personal is the political. There is no separation between the personal and the political. And yes, I understood it for myself and for the film as well, that the characters do not need to talk politics, because to talk the words like what it's only by seeing these two characters, one with the uniform, and one is talking in Arabic with her sister. That the sister lives in Ramallah. That you say everything. You don't need to say more. And politics is everywhere, as I said, around in everything, in every choice that we made, and we will make, and we will make. So I don't go in the street with the banners. Yes, if we are talking politics, that it's banners and demonstrations all the time. No, I don't walk with banner, but I walk with other texts. My flesh, my skin, my words, my name. Ala, you talk about the names. Using the name, this is politics. Like I used to work in the hospital, and a male nurse that was working with me, he's always introduced himself as Hussein. Shalom, ani Hussein. And I said, no, you are Hussein. This is politics. You understand? You have it everywhere all the time. And just to be aware about when you are saying yourself, your name is Hussein, in a way that the ears can tolerate it, and not Hussein. This is politics. So you need to be aware for all the text that you are. That's it.
Yeah, well, in Paradise, the whole issue of a name is very crucial for the story, obviously. But more generally speaking, I mean, living in Israel, the boundaries or borders between personal, individual, and national or political, whatever you want to add to those two forces, this is a fraction or a tension that you daily, it's part of your daily life. And for me, and obviously, you know, politicians and media tends to simplify reality, and for me, just to try and you know, describing or emphasizing the complexity of human, of just, you know, the human condition is a political act. And going into such a minefield or complicated, you know, subject matters is actually, you know, I want to give the subtext the respect it deserves. So for me, to go to those areas and over there to speak silently or to put, you know, the focus on nuances, on just the contradictions and not trying to either educate anyone or raise any flag, as Samira said, or just describing, making people question their, you know, beliefs is more important for me than trying to prove them wrong or to tell them what is right. This is for me a political act that, that in a way, this is, you know, where cinema and art in general can contribute. I'm not trying to, you know, raise my voice louder than any, I don't know, correspondent in a news studio or newspaper or anyone who thinks he knows best what is right and wrong. Yeah.
Do you want to add to that as far as the balance between art and politics?
I'm sorry?
Did you want to add to that anything about the balance between art and politics within your work?
Yeah, I think from my world, well, it's some sort of well, it's always very confusing for me because I grew up in a Jewish community. My first language, my first language is Hebrew. Always been. Somehow it just turned out to be that language, and I think that if I haven't went to acting and to work in the cinema industry or in acting in general, also theater, but theater is different because most of the plays I do in Hebrew here and it's classical plays is more in the cinema area. Most of the times I will be taken to do roles that speak fluent Arabic. And so cinema some sort of took me to my Palestinian roots and somehow took me to learn the language fluently. And ever since I decided to go to that weird business, ever since I went there, ever since I took that path, I'm just finding myself going deeper and deeper into some sort of my identity complex. And so there is not really, I mean, in Israel, there is a very deep look into identity. Somehow the identity and the hat, I call it the hat that the person is wearing, is much more important than what he's going through in his life. And I'm really looking forward into the moment that this identity complex discussion will fade a little bit, fade a little lower, so we can talk about the real, talk about the problems of having a society, because poor and rich and capitalist country that is going on in here. And I think those discussions are not less, or gender, just many different discussions that we can have than I would have. Okay, I know where I'm going with this. What I'm trying to say is that art and politics right now are like this. And I think that art and politics are in cinema in general, there will always be like this. It's somehow this is the job of art, is to its relations in the end, and art is supposed to talk about relations. So it's hard, it's complicated, but I'm happy about it. And I wanted to go, and I think that is going to go a lot deeper into the complex identity of this area that we all share.
I wish to add, because the question is phrased as balance between art and politics, and it's like, as Ala said, it's a human condition, and arts come and to talk about human conditions. Since we were in the caves, we draw the human condition on the walls of the cave. So I think it's not the balance between art and politics, but it's the relationship and the connection between art and politics. And because arts are dealing with human condition, it cannot be separated at all. And the word balance is like there's something here and there. This is what I wanted to add. Like it's I think that I wish to point that it's not a matter of balance, it's the matter of connection and how we use art in bringing our human condition to change it. For me there is this triangle, that this is art, activism, and social change. For me, it's not separated. It cannot be separated ever.
I think it's fascinating. Sorry.
No, there is a great book I recommend that I read recently by an author called I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. It's called Walter Benjamin, and he's writing about cinema and the relations between cinema and politics. And somehow he says, I don't remember exactly. It's hard to understand, but it's really talking about that cinema cannot be separated from politics, because the moment we decide to talk about so-called real people is the moment that we talk about 100% politics, because it's some sort of, we're trying to make a fiction documentary, like we're trying to talk about real people, and real people are always come with identities, and identities is politics. And
because cinema it's an imaging, and an image, it's what you do in your mind. This is how you see this creature, this people. This is why it was important for Asaf to make this film with a Palestinian creator, understanding and knowing that it doesn't matter how precise, and correct me Asaf if I'm wrong, how precise he can be, he will never be a clean, I do like this, clean in when he write a situation, this human situation and this character situation.
Yeah, I agree, and I want to add to it something regarding this whole political issue, because there's the whole issue of identity politics, okay, and PC. And for me, Ali, not only disguising or having his, kind of playing with the group of Israelis in the story, but in a way is also having a kind of a game with the spectators. Because for me and Naif, it was very important from the very beginning that, let's say, the fact that Ali is an Arab does not exclude him from being narcissist, a liar, a spoiled. You can add to it whatever you want. The fact that he's an Arab, still he is a human being with a lot of defaults, and we tried in a way to play with the expectations of the viewers as well. Like Ali does not fit completely into a certain type of character that you expect him to be as a spectator in the current identity politics state of mind, let's say. So in that way, it's both what Samira, you said about that you cannot, it all connects in a way. And if Naif and Ala would not bring their own life experience and their hearts into the film, it wouldn't been made. It would have been made differently. I wouldn't take that step. So yeah, it's all connected, I would say.
I think that plays out beautifully in both of your films. All these concepts of both the kind of the normal life being interrupted by the politics. I think by having both films really deal with this concept of honesty in many ways, and I think that is kind of the approach of putting it all out there and breaking down the taboos that might be expected of kind of the characters in the films. I would love to give an opportunity for our audience to ask any questions they might have respectfully, hopefully, and make that conversation happen. So we're going to take a question. Hello, are you here? Or not? Okay, so maybe you hear me now. Okay. So yeah, congratulations for your two movies. I was particularly moved by the fact that, as Asaf described, it's not black or white. It's a little bit more complex. And this is what I found in the two movies. I happen to have met Samira 10 years ago. My name is Frank Diawi, and I remember I met you at, I think it was at the Ala Daka, were not yet famous, and we organized a trip from French LGBT group, Beit Haverim, the Christian group, the Muslim group, and the No Faith group. And I remember well your story. I believe you were making your witness, and I'm very pleased to see how you go. My question for all of you was to whether you can give us some insight on how the independent cinema from Arab countries relate to those situations. Of course, we know in Israel, the independent cinema is very vivid, and there are very good examples. Do you have any connection with the Arab artists trying to express themselves in their home countries? And I specify by saying the fact that I was born and raised for 18 years in an Arab country myself, and I'm Jewish. I was born in Egypt.
Can you phrase, Yara, the question because the way was really, really bad. I couldn't hear it. Sorry.
Can you hear me? You ready with it? Do you have any connection to the Arab independent cinema? Does your world interact with that at all?
About if there's a connection between us and do you have any connection to the Arab independent cinema? Well, we are kind of in a for the Arab cinema, or for the Arab countries, and we are Israelis. We are Israeli, having the Israeli passport, and are you probably familiar with the BDS? And I never tried, and I respect the way they see me, but I cannot be someone else or something else. And hopefully someday the situation in Israel will be changed, and where will not be an occupation and etc. like that. Some few nice things like this that we have here that make the Arab world is closing for us. So hopefully the situation will change and we can be part of the international cinema. It doesn't matter where it is, also as well in the Arab countries. Hopefully that Israel someday will choose to live differently and be differently. Did I answer to your question?
I can comment. Unfortunately, I have zero connection to the Arab independent cinema, but I can share maybe an experience regarding the making of Paradise, which basically you are not allowed to shoot in Sinai. It's illegal. And we did, like, it was a really crazy adventure to make this film happen. And we came to know some Egyptian friends that basically fell in love with the idea of creating something together. And this was a co-production, very unofficial one. And not by chance, they are not mentioned by name, unfortunately, in the credits, but this film could not be made without a certain type of cooperation. And really, it was not only heartwarming, it was really, you know, because in a way, those people who were very much involved with the production had more to lose than us. I mean, I could spend a day or two in the, not prison, but some people that were very much helping us had more to risk. So that was on a very, again, human basic connection, that those people felt our hearts are in the right place. And we had, you know, this type of cooperation, which was an amazing experience, regardless of how the film, you know, came out. For us, the people who made this film, we felt like we're doing something special in a way. And it was very, very interesting.
Thank you. We have another question up here.
I don't know if you can hear me, but so you can paraphrase. So first of all, thank you so much. Those are really, really powerful films. And I wanted to ask, what's next for you?
What is next for you?
For me, you ask me?
All three of you.
Okay. So for me, of course, I wish to make this film a feature film, because you saw only 24 hours in the middle of the relationship, but I wish to deal with all the process since the first moment of the connection. And I told you that it was full of contradictions inside myself and as well inside my partner then. And we faced a lot of difficulties as well inside us and also outside us, within in circles, and how families, how friends reacted to it, especially when it was around the war on Gaza. And for me, I need to go deeper and deeper in this story, and to kind of try to, for me it's an emotional process and therapeutic process for me to make this film. So I'm working on writing the feature, and as well I'm a part of a hip hop band that we rap in Arabic, Hebrew, English, Yiddish, and Amharic. So I write music, and I also partner in two different processes of writing series to the television, and raising my dog. This is what yeah, it's funny. I'm raising it.
What's next for you?
For me?
Ala, go ahead.
For me? What's next for me?
Sure.
Continue. I mean, it's like Samira said. It's like it sounds like my life. I do music. I'm releasing an album. I'm doing television, playing in a series and cinema. There's another movie that's gonna come out soon that I'm doing a very interesting role that I like. Portrait of Victory. things going on. Thank God. We're pushing that cycle and going. I mean, me and Asaf talked a little bit about doing a feature film. We wanted to, but Asaf said, oh, you know, the beginning, the ending, and Asaf this old digged in a new movie that he's working on right now, shooting going around the world. So I continue to other projects, and I'm happy. But I'm always I always have a special place for this film, for the adventure that we had, for the crazy. It was a film inside a film. So yeah.
Allah, yeah, he wasn't pressuring me at all. It was kind of mutual. Yeah, we had this idea to make it into a feature because we were both curious about Ali, you know, and I don't know if it would happen. We'll see. One of the reasons why it can't happen right now is because I'm actually right in the middle of a shooting of a new film. It's a feature, it's a co-production, actually the biggest for me for sure. It all takes place in Europe, so I'm kind of in a short home visit at the moment. Basically, it tells the story of, you're probably familiar, or if not, I will briefly tell you about this social phenomena of Israeli teenagers going to Poland on a school trip for Holocaust trip. So I'm now shooting my new film, which is a coming of age story of a group of Israeli kids in Poland, road trip called The Delegation. And we finished up a session in Germany and I'm heading to Poland next week. So yeah.
Thank you so much. I think we await your next projects. And thank you so much for being here with us today and tonight by you. I know there are more questions, but unfortunately we are out of time. Please, folks, spread the word about these wonderful films. They're available this week through Other Israel. And thank you all. Have a good night.
Thank you.
Thank you.
We're here with us through the technological issues. Thank you all.
Thank you.
Wish we could be there with you guys.
Yeah. Bye, good night.
Ciao, ciao. Bye, thank you all.